Dr. Steve, master of the subconscious mind and doctor who fixes 100% of orthopedic issues. And we are covering all the not all of them, but some of the anti-aging protocols that are out there. And are they really beneficial for you or are they not? And when it comes to this case and deciphering whether or not you should participate in what some of the crazes are on the internet of people doing, we have to understand that there's a feedback loop system. And so when you're doing something, there's an adverse effect. And in other words, you know, everyone is talking about cold baths and they're doing the big dick contest, seeing who can stay in the longest and everything like that. And people take things and then they go to the extremes. So while cold plunges do have a tendency to increase the brown fat, which speeds up thermogenesis, there's a period of time that it's beneficial. And then when you do it for excessive periods of time, so beyond a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, now what happens is you increase adrenaline and epinephrine because your body's under too much stress, right? And so if you're under too much stress and you have all this adrenaline, you're actually causing the inverse effect. You're actually increasing estrogen because adrenaline has that effect because it increases cortisol, it increases serotonin, it increases histamine because they all go synergistically together. So now you have this high adrenaline and you're increasing estrogen, slowing down metabolism. This thing that you were trying to speed up, you're actually doing the opposite. We look at glutathione. Glutathione is this amazing antioxidant that's produced in the liver, and it deals with glucuronidation, and that's the body's ability to detox, metals and detox estrogens and medications and poisons and toxins and things. So if you disrupt that process, we have a big problem with toxicity and buildup. So, I'm always a bigger fan of giving the body the precursors because when you give yourself straight glutathione exogenously, the body doesn't need to make it anymore. It has a feedback loop system. Maybe for a short period of time you take it. To take it all the time? No. NAD. We look at NAD, and people want to do these IVs of NAD, and they feeling nauseous and sick and tired, and they think they're doing this great thing, and you're putting your body under unnecessary stress that way. And when you take excessive amounts of NAD, trying to create longevity and whatever it is you're doing, now we do the same thing. We stopped or prevented oxidative phosphorylation. You're actually inhibiting cellular respiration, and you're causing the opposite effect of what you were intentionally trying to do. NAD is great in the right amounts, but actually you could probably do the same thing with just taking, nicotinamide, right? And have more benefit. And so, in methylation, which are these enzyme pathways that we go through, if we aren't making enough glutathione, we end up with more ammonia. If you have too much ammonia, you can have high blood pressure. We could end up with more glutamate. We could end up with more peroxynitrate, causing gut damage, etc. So in that case, when we're causing this higher amount of ammonia because we're not making enough glutathione, yeah, it makes sense to support it. But if the system's not broken, why are you going to mess with it? It's not just looking at blood work. I mean, it's looking at your genetic SNPs, and your symptoms. If there's no symptoms, you may not want to mess with it. You only have to mess with these things when something's out of balance, and determine when it's out of balance. Is it emotional? Is it structural? Is it nutritional, biochemical? What is the actual case? So, resveratrol. People love resveratrol, and they've used it as an excuse to drink their red wine and say it's healthy and so forth, right? When we know that alcohol, more than one drink every day, will actually lead to dementia, shrinking the hippocampus, memory loss. So, but with resveratrol, besides the component of people trying to make excuses where more is better and their behaviors, justifying their behaviors, when we take resveratrol, there was a case where I think it was GlaxoSmithKline, but I don't remember which pharmaceutical company. Anyway, they bought David Sinclair's work for like $700 million, and it was supposed to increase surtuins and increase longevity. And when they did this, they started experimenting with his research, and a bunch of people died. And they squashed it. So, here we are with a Harvard researcher that's promoting this resveratrol and all the miracle things with sirtuins, and it turns out there's a negative feedback loop system that has actually ended up killing people. So, it's never the case where you go online and you're looking for a miracle cure. There's a threshold that's there with the amount of stress you can put under your body. Most of our nutrients come from food. And if we have genetic mutations that are expressed due to emotional stress, postural distortion, um, chemical exposure, maybe there's a need to support certain enzymatic SNPs. And maybe we need to figure out why you aren't recycling your glutathione, or maybe figure out, why your myelin's demyelinating, because you have excessive glutamate, and there's something in your diet or your lifestyle that's causing it. Maybe it's just a simple thing of improving your sleep. Maybe your sleep is off because you're not breathing when you're sleeping. You have sleep apnea. There's a number of things that can be going on. But you guys just got to remember that more is not better, and you have to do things in the right fashion, or you're causing the opposite effect.